Hey everyone, this is going to be a tutorial on the tolerance activity. So as you can see in the bottom left corner here, I have the image that you are going to be supplied with in Schoology. And just for the sake of time, I've already created the model using those dimensions in Fusion. So now I'm going to walk you guys through how to make some of these new types of dimensions and these section views in Fusion, just so you guys are aware. So first thing first, make sure that your units are in inches. It's important. Makes the rest of this a little bit easier. And then what I'm going to do after the model is done is I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to, Design, Drawing, and then from Design. This little dialog box will pop up. Make sure your standard is ASME, inches, and your units themselves are in inches. Your teacher will talk to you a little bit about the difference between these two, and if you don't, ask them. Make sure the sheet size is in B. Press OK. It'll bring open the sheet size. And the sheet and everything like that, that little base, and it'll actually come in scaled down. Come over to scale, crank that back up to 1:1 ratio, make that off to the left a little bit here, and then press OK. Leave it black and white. If you double click it and change it, it's going to be really hard to see the dimensions and to mess with all these dimensions, so just do that. Go ahead and click the border once, any one of these little arrows or this line. Press delete. Again, just more room for you to put all your dimensions. So after we're done with all that, now we're ready to start actually putting some dimensions. First one I like to mess with before I start anything is this section view that you guys see over here. So basically a section view is just, again, just a zoomed in view of a portion of a model that can't be really well dimensioned or viewed just by first glance. So I'm going to come up to the top here and I'm going to see this little detail view. I said section view, I meant detail view, sorry. You select first the overall box. You saw that I selected the only one that's available. And then I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. And I'm going to try and get into this open space here in the center of this open space. I click once. I pull this out. And again, as you see in the drawing down here in the right, it goes just a little bit past this corner here. And that's important because that's part of the dimension that we're going to make. And then I'm going to leave the A over in the right here. Not going to go too far past that just because of this, again, space. Click. Once you click, it'll automatically create that detail view, and I would put that over here to the right. Click one more time, and then press OK. You'll see that this is a little big. You can double click that. Before you pressed OK, you could do the scale as well, but I just did it after. Go in here, make this ratio, again, 1:1, and then you'll see it shrink down a little bit. I don't like all of this here. I like to just take some of this off, and I just double clicked here to take the scale off. And again, I just put like it says there, just section A, just to save, again, space. Center, or I should say, I'm sorry, escape. Sorry. Scale. Sorry, section. A. Click off, and then it'll make it to that what you need it to be. Okay, so we have the size here. We have this that you can move around wherever you want, move this down or whatever. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to start with these bottom ones here because they're easy. You go through and dimension, nothing really hard here, and just match the same dimensions that I have here. Go here, should be the same, 0.82. I'm going to come from this dot to this dot here, this endpoint, I should say. Go from here to here. I want to know what that is. 2. Want to know what this is. 9. I also want to know what height here is. And then that looks like it's it for the section view. So that's it for the section view. It's easy peasy. We can keep going. And again, just so you guys can see, apply all the dimensions that you see here. They should be exactly the same as you see if you built the model correctly. And if you didn't, make sure you fix whatever you need to fix. So we'll go from here to here, bring that over. Actually, already dimensioned that over here. Sorry, I'm going to delete that one. More here, this big side here. Oops. Select the line. Select this line. Now I have my 5. Now I have my 3. Should be good. Okay. And if any of these are in the way when you guys are doing this, you can always click once and then you'll see this little gray dot. You can move it wherever you need to. I always just like to put it in the center just so it looks nice, but if you need to move it down a little bit, you can do so. Next thing I want to do is, before I go any further, make these a little bit bigger. So if you go over to document settings, you'll see dimension units, you'll see text group height. If you press this little pencil next to text height, just drop this down to large, makes it a little bigger, makes them a lot easier to see. If you do it at first instead of last, kind of like I did, it'll make it, change some of your things. So make sure you're aware of that. Just change some of your dimensions, make them overlap, make them look ugly, whatever the case may be. And we don't want that. So I got all the general dimensions. Now let's focus on these tolerance dimensions, what the whole purpose of this is. So I'm going to go up to normal dimension, just like I normally would. And I'm going to click here and click here. And this is just the gap of that tolerance. I'm going to just click just to get it close as possible. And you can see these two arrows are a little off. So I'm going to click escape, click it again, and I'm going to make those match perfectly. Oh, that's okay. You can make it look as good as you need to. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click, and you'll see this whole dimension dialog box pop up, and this is where you're going to mess with all the tolerances. So you're going to click this little checkbox that says tolerance, and for this one, this is a symmetrical tolerance type. So we're going to, actually a deviation, I'm sorry, deviation type, right? Yep. And we're going to make sure we change the linear precision, which is basically the standard deviation, knock that a little bit up. In this case, it's 3. Just so we can see all 3 of these dimensions. And for this one, the tolerance is 0.004 is the high, and then the lower tolerance is 0.1. And as you can see, it fills it in. When I press close, then I can click, see these little gray boxes, and make it, again, look a little bit more presentable, a little bit outside so you guys can see it. So that's the first one. And as you can see in the drawing over here, you got the exact measurement. Next one is dimension again. I'm going to go to the inside hole. I'm going to click over here. Again, press escape, double click, and then we're going to do tolerances again. In this case, it is just a normal. Actually, there is no tolerance in there because it goes through all. So we're going to leave that one alone. And before I close it, I'm going to go ahead and type in the letter or the words through, because it goes through the entire part. So through, and then I can press close. So that's that first part. It looks like in the drawing file, the tolerances also try to match. So let's do that. 3. Let's close. And then you can even add trailing zeros like it says right here. Press close. That's how you get those. So we're good there. And now you might see that the counter bore, because this is a hole, the counter bore in this case, the diameter is 1.25, and then the depth of that counter bore is 0.25. So we need to make sure we label that, and we're just going to cheat. We're going to go over here to text. We're going to make a text box right underneath that, and we're going to type in exactly what we see. This dialog box comes up with a whole bunch of different symbols. So the first one is that it's a counter bore. Then we need to identify that the diameter, and then we can start typing. So 1.25, 0, just for, again, tolerances. The depth symbol goes down that far, is 0.25. And this is, again, a tolerance in this case of plus or minus. And in this case, it doesn't say it on the drawing file. For some reason, I'll have to go back and adjust that. We want this tolerance to be plus or minus 0.001. Press close, and now we can identify that. Then I believe the last one here is the upper and lower limit, limit tolerance. So again, you just do a normal dimension. Come in here, click. Looks like I put it over here to the left. Press escape, double click, and then we're going to leave this as tolerance. We're going to say limit, and then we are going to punch in, again, 3. We are going to punch in an upper limit of plus 0.005, and the same thing down here, 0.005, upper and lower limit. Press OK, and there you go. You have all of your dimensions there. Hope this helps. If you guys have any questions, just ask your teacher. Thanks.